Sirens. A referee's badge scanned and rejected at a French border checkpoint. Red lights flashing across the tarmac. Security radios crackling in the background. Cut hard to President Laurent Vasseur, jaw tight, leaning into a podium of microphones. Cut again to FIFA chairman Victor Halden, alone in a glass boardroom in Zurich, head in his hands. Bold red text detonates across the screen. The referee ban. Right now, the football world is watching a tournament collapse in real time. French President Laurent Vasseur has just ordered emergency visa bans on elite World Cup referees, accusing FIFA's officiating corps of collusion and financial fraud. In the next 15 minutes, we break down exactly how a refereeing scandal turned into an international standoff. It started the way these things always start, quietly. A string of knockout matches, each one decided by the smallest possible margin. A handball wave-off here, an offside reversal there, a penalty that never got a monitor review. On their own, forgettable refereeing errors, the kind every tournament produces and fans argue about for a week and then forget. Stacked together across a single knockout weekend, something else emerged. A pattern serious enough that financial crimes investigators, not football administrators, opened the first file. Broadcast analysts built the timeline frame by frame, match by match, call by call. Every contested decision bent in the same direction, benefited the same short list of advancing teams, and lined up, too neatly to be coincidence, according to the analyst reviewing it. With irregular fund transfers, investigators say moved through accounts linked to a handful of accredited match officials in the days surrounding each fixture. What began as an ordinary bracket controversy was, within 72 hours, sitting on a government desk in Paris, no longer a sporting matter at all. Former officials speaking on background described the mood inside the referee corps as tense and uncertain. Nobody formally accused yet, everybody suddenly under a microscope, and a tournament still very much in progress underneath all of it. Fans, for their part, had already picked a side long before any government got involved, flooding social platforms with slow-motion replays and time-stamped comparisons of near-identical incidents that had been ruled two completely different ways within the same weekend. This is where the story stopped being about football and started being about power. Emergency briefings ran through the night at the French Sports Ministry, then moved to the Élysée itself. State lawyers and diplomats worked a single, uncomfortable question. Does a private sports federation get to sit outside domestic law when its officials are suspected of financial crimes committed on French soil, under a French broadcast license, in front of French ticket holders? President Vasseur's answer when it came was blunt and unmistakably political. His office issued Zurich a direct ultimatum: hand over the referee's internal communications and the full VAR audio logs, unredacted within a set window, or France would exercise its sovereign right to revoke entry credentials for every accused official before the next round kicked off. No committee vote, no appeal process routed through FIFA's own disciplinary chamber. A government simply drawing a line and daring the world's most powerful sports body to cross it. This is not an attack on football, Vasseur's office said in a carefully worded statement released just hours after the ultimatum. It is an attack on anyone who believes a badge or a governing body puts them beyond the law of the country that welcomed them. It was a line clearly written to be quoted everywhere by morning, and it was. For decades, world football's governing body has operated with something close to diplomatic immunity, writing its own rules, running its own internal courts, and answering to almost no outside authority, no matter which country happened to be hosting that year. Vasseur's order is the first serious crack in that arrangement in modern memory, and legal scholars are already treating it as a case study. On one side of the split screen, a host nation's border and its financial crimes laws, which do not bend for anyone holding a tournament accreditation badge, however senior. On the other, Chairman Victor Halden's board, insisting through gritted teeth that FIFA's internal disciplinary process is the only body with jurisdiction here, and that a government reaching into officiating matters sets a dangerous precedent of its own. Legal analysts following the standoff are calling it the most direct challenge to football's self-governing model in the sport's history. Whichever way it resolves, full compliance from Zurich, a drawn-out legal fight, or a quiet backroom compromise, It sets a precedent every future host country will remember the next time something goes wrong on their watch. Diplomats from at least 2 other former host nations have reportedly reached out to Paris this week alone, quietly asking how the standoff is playing out. Strip away the politics and the diplomatic language, and investigators say this is, at its core, a straightforward financial case. The working theory under review: a small circle of officials, a handful of specific contested calls, and betting markets that moved in advance of the whistle rather than after it, the kind of timing pattern that fraud analysts say is far harder to explain away as coincidence than a single bad call ever would be. Nothing here has been proven in a courtroom, and that distinction matters. It is precisely why French authorities are demanding the raw audio and communication logs instead of simply accepting FIFA's own internal review at face value. A federation investigating itself, one French official reportedly put it, is not the same thing as an independent audit. If the pattern holds up under scrutiny, this stops being a story about bad refereeing and becomes something far heavier, a story about a manipulated market and the millions of fans worldwide who paid full price to watch what they believed was a fair, unscripted contest. Every major network holding World Cup broadcast rights built its entire production schedule around a fixed, pre-approved roster of accredited officials. The same names, the same faces, the same voices in the commentary booths, all locked in with contracts signed months in advance, long before any of this controversy existed. Vasseur's ultimatum just put that entire roster in doubt days before the next knockout round kicks off at the single most valuable point in the entire broadcast calendar, the exact window when advertising rates peak and networks can least afford disruption. If the visa bans actually take effect, tournament organizers will be forced to fast-track emergency officials into the biggest matches of the year with none of the same experience at this level, under this pressure, in front of an audience this size. It's a scenario broadcast executives are privately admitting could affect the flow, the pacing, and frankly, the credibility of every remaining match, arriving at the exact moment global viewership peaks for the year. Every version of this outcome, one insider close to the negotiations put it plainly, costs somebody real money. And right now, nobody involved wants to be the one left holding the bill when the invoices come due. So where does this actually land once you strip away all the noise and the headlines? A head of state has full, uncontested authority to investigate financial crimes committed inside his own borders. That's not in dispute. Visa control isn't a courtesy extended to guests as a formality. It's a sovereign tool built into the office itself, and Vasseur is using it exactly as designed, exactly as the law allows. But a global sports body also has a legitimate case to make on the other side of this, that letting national politics dictate who officiates a match, even when the stated goal is rooting out corruption, opens a door that is very hard to close again once it's been pushed open. Both of those things can be true at the same time, and that tension, not the football itself, not the final score, not even the scandal, is the real story unfolding here in front of us. Whatever finally comes out of Zurich in the next few days will decide something far bigger than one tournament. Whether this becomes the moment host nations stop treating international federations as untouchable institutions above the law and started treating them like any other organization operating on their soil, subject to the same rules as everyone else. So, should a government be allowed to use its visa power to force transparency out of a sports federation, or has this crossed a line into political interference that no elected leader should ever touch? Drop your take in the comments below, because we genuinely want to hear the verdict from people watching this closer than anyone sitting in Zurich right now would probably like. And if this breakdown kept you hooked from the first second all the way to the last, do us a favor. Hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and don't miss the next file. Because this story is far from finished, and the next chapter drops the moment those Zurich logs finally go public. We'll see you there.